But when I looked back, I saw it go under. So all the bubbly water, and I knew that it was a pretty big shark. And that scared me a lot.
Oh, that's a good one.
Different culture, different ideologies.
Mental health is really important.
Be like I was in my 30s, and I had exuberant energy.
Definitely be more introspective and be brave in looking.
Because I was so consumed by my own suffering and being an alcoholic, in my opinion.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Strong, Happy, Healthy Love channel. My name is John Reynolds, and as usual, we've got our weekly guest to talk about their journey on this realm. So I'm very privileged to be joined by Angie Adler-Koops, a professional stunt woman with credits on Elvis, Pirates of the Caribbean, Mortal Kombat, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Godzilla vs. Kong. She's also been the New Zealand Women's Surfing Champion a few years ago now, and also has a wonderful physical accomplishments on the snowboarding, gymnastics, skateboarding, stage combat. I think there's a few more. We'll get to those. And also an amazing mom and partner, not to diminish any of those wonderful accomplishments. So Angie, welcome.
Oh, thank you for that intro.
Isn't it nice to be celebrated? You know, when you hear those things, sometimes like, oh, that sounds... I feel accomplished.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. Good
Amazing.
to be here.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. And so I want to start by taking you back to your early roots. I know you were born or raised in Kaikoura, which is a very small little town there in the North Island, I believe. Some great surfing spots.
Yeah, in the South Island.
South Island, beg your pardon. Yeah. I should know my...
We'll get that one straight.
I should know my geographic being a local there as well. But look, talk us through some of those, you know, whether you had siblings, some of those challenges growing up, what got you into the physical world. So please share.
Yes, well, so I am one of four. And it's a, how can I explain this? It's a bit sad with speaking on my brother, who my oldest brother. He's the one who basically, I guess, changed my perspective on movement and sports and all that sort of thing. Hopefully I don't cry, actually, because it's quite hard talking about him. But when I was 5 years old, I was very young, I told him that I whispered in his ear and I said, I'm going to move for you. I basically don't really know where that came from, but my brother had very severe cerebral palsy, to the point, you know, he couldn't communicate, couldn't walk, couldn't, you know, it was just so gnarly, basically. And he actually died when I was very young. He died when I was 8. But I know that he was basically that catalyst to our family, to really appreciate just to be able to move, you know, like that is just such a gift. And I know that my parents put a lot of emphasis, you could say, on sports as well for us kids that could move. I just remember a story of Mum saying about when my other brother Calvin was only in nappies, and he threw the stone and it actually smashed a window. And she told me that for 1 second she never cared at all about that broken window. She watched how he threw that, you know, that stone so far and just so beautifully that she was just, all she cared about was just that movement, being able to see that movement and just how gorgeous it was, and didn't care for 1 second that this, window smashed. So yeah, so that's actually a lot of the catalyst behind my sports and my movement. And because it's a gift, like movement, for my brother, he couldn't move. So it was basically I could. So I was going to push myself as hard as I could. I was going to jump as far as I could. I was going to dance as hard as I could. I was just going to do everything as hard as I could because I could. And I think that was very much for our whole family. And that was, it's so sad. It's gnarly to see someone that unable to do anything, basically.
Which is amazing. As a 5-year-old, you were able to comprehend that you wanted to share your experience with him and having that connection. So that's pretty special.
Yeah. It's very young, but I remember it very vividly. And I also, there was another part of it as well, was my movement. I knew that it brought joy to my family, to my parents, and to myself, of course, when we moved. So when her children moved, there was just, there was a joy that it brought as well. So I thought that it could actually take some pain away, pain away from the family, pain away from me, pain, just to see that you just, I don't know, you're a little kid, you just try to do what you can. So it's a major thing for my just want to move, basically. Yeah.
And great that you're encouraged. I think a lot of the time, especially what we see growing up in some small towns and in any country is sometimes there's a great family connection there and that support. And like for your mum with your brother, I mean, imagine the catalyst if that was a beating or something for smashing a window, but instead it was celebrated. It was a wonderful kind of catalyst for the child to realize, oh gosh, okay, I did something good and I'm not going to be punished for that. I mean, it's all those little things I see in life that can kind of layer those mental health experiences.
Yeah. And my brother and sister were both New Zealand champion. My brother was in the New Zealand junior ice hockey team, and my sister was New Zealand junior ice skating champion. And I went on to be New Zealand surfing champion. And so we all just, it was a catalyst behind all of us. That's what I believe anyway.
Yeah. So your parents sporty themselves, or is this something they just encouraged? Yeah.
Yeah, my parents are sporty. My dad was a really good diver, doing the flips and things into the water. So he was always doing gymnastics. And my mum was a very good basketball player, actually. So they're very sporty. Yeah.
So where did the surfing, I know Kaikoura has got a beautiful beaches there, and I'm obviously very cold and lots of sharks, but obviously that's part of the journey of getting out and being a good surfer, right? So when did that journey start for you?
Yeah, well, it was a bit later on, actually. So I was born in Clyde, way down south, and that's where my sister and brother, they all did their ice skating down there, and I actually did skating as well, ice skating as well. But yeah, we moved to Kaikoura when I was very young, probably about 6 years old or so. So from there, I did a lot of boogie boarding and that sort of thing. But gymnastics was really big on the cards for me. That was basically my life for a long time. And then surfing, I started quite late. I started about 13, 14 years. So it's quite late as far as surfing goes. I mean, my son started when he was like 1.
Yeah.
So he was in the water at that age, on a board, and he was standing up at about 2 years old, and yeah. So, but yeah, so about 13, 14, but I picked it up very quickly with the balance of gymnastics and then the wave knowledge from boogie boarding a lot and that sort of thing. But it's pretty rugged there like rocks. It's not like the beautiful golden sandy beaches of the Gold Coast, that's for sure.
We've got to learn to surf differently, right? And I guess that's the part of the courage and getting out there. And if you don't want to do it, you just won't. There'll be too many ways to
Oh,
talk yourself out of it.
it is pretty cold in the winter. There's snow-capped mountains. There's, it's boulders. You're like slipping over boulders, and it's yeah, it was. But I didn't really know any different. I just loved it.
Okay.
And
The calling to do those physical things. I mean, was there any fears that came about with that you were challenging yourself, or was just this internal drive, like you said, having your brother there as a linchpin to kind of say, well, I'm going to do this for you?
yeah, well, um, good question. I just loved doing it. I just loved moving. I already loved the ocean. We'd go spearfishing and that sort of thing. So I already had a love for the ocean, and surfing was, this beautiful dance on the wave. If you could end up managing to do that. I mean, it took a little while, but yeah. So I just loved it. I don't know how to explain it other than
Adequately conveying it,
passion.
which is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So winning the New Zealand title in surfing must have been quite an accomplishment. And was that something you were striving for? Is that a mental, or is it kind of, yeah, please talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
Oh, definitely. Well, I did the juniors and I ended up winning the junior nationals at one point, and it was just always on the cards to, be the open women's champion. And yeah, in between there, had represented New Zealand at the Junior Worlds, which was an amazing experience. And it was just on the cards to always, um, conquer that, win that, and yeah, just I love having goals.
Yeah.
So for me, it was always a goal to achieve that, and finally I did.
And so that kind of perfectly sets you up, handling pressure. I mean, the tricks, the physicality, the gymnastics, and then, becoming a professional stunt woman now. I mean, how does that kind of fit into the growth and evolution?
Yeah. Um, so well, what originally happened was I was a snowboard. I was actually sponsored for snowboarding and surfing at the time. And I mean, New Zealand's just the perfect place to do it. Kaikoura, you could snowboard in 1 hour at the top of the mountain. That's where I grew up. So I had that there. That was my backyard. And I love both. I always loved doing a lot more than just, it wasn't just surfing. It was always, I loved doing, crossing over sports and bringing inspiration from different sports and things like that as well. And but it was actually the snowboarding. I was getting into some pretty big jumps, and I injured myself doing a 25-foot quarter pipe. You had to go as big as you could out of the pipe, and I did, and I didn't realize that they'd actually shaped it differently from the day before. They shaped it a little bit over vertical, so I should have tested it, but I didn't, and I just went charging in and went right up out of the pipe, and then I just landed flat. Landed on my board, but the impact was pretty severe. So I injured my knee, and then I realized how much I loved to surf, and I was like, oh, I was going pretty hard with the snowboarding and it. But yeah, that was that passion for surfing. I was actually doing my snowboard instructor's course at the same time, which was so frustrating because I had to finish the course. So I put a big knee brace on, and I managed to finish the course though. So I was quite proud of myself for that, because 3 doctors told me I couldn't, and I had a wee
Well, the
argument.
doctors know. Yeah.
They were just like, no, you won't be able to do it. It'll be anyway. I got a big knee brace, and one of the doctors gave me a knee brace, and he said, look, I don't think you can do it, but here you go, and we'll put you in surgery straight away after you finish the course, and we'll see how you go. and I managed to, I couldn't walk. I was hobbling, but when I strapped my feet in that board, I rode on my front leg, and I managed to finish doing the course. And I did these shoots and things, and it was pretty, you know, I remember bawling my eyes out before having to do the shoot, which is quite steep, and I had to actually ride switch, which is a different way to what you ride. So I'm natural, so I had to go goofy. So I had to put all that pressure on, but I managed, and I got through it, got there, and then I shot over to the Gold Coast, and I wanted to become a pro surfer, basically. And it was surfing that got me into stunts, because one of my friends here, she got asked to be on a show, Lightning Point, I think it was, little kids show, and she was one of the surfing doubles. And then she asked me, you know, anyway, I got the job for that. And then I met Darko on that job, and he said, have you ever thought of being a stunt woman? And I was like, oh, that would be cool. It would be like, I have no idea what it was,
Yeah.
you know, what it entailed. Just, it was, but it made me think and about how cool that would be, because I love to push my body and all that sort of thing. And yeah, I started training, and then the rest is history.
Well, you're still writing the history, so it's not history yet, right? It's current climbs. I mean, you've just recently, I know you've been on a TV series of Monarch. You're over in Thailand.
That was fun, John, wasn't it?
Yes, I was along for that as well. So yes, we can talk about those things. So I mean, you know, just the fact that females in the stunt industry is something. I'm not saying it's new, but it's certainly, you know, you can probably highlight more and watch shows with a lot more guys doing stunts than females doing stunts. So, you know, the pressure, I guess, for females, and you've got to look a certain way and you've got to act a certain way. Do you sort of feel that the stunt woman gets a fair kind of focus on them, that they have to do more or be more, or oh, okay, what do stunt women do? Because as you're saying, I mean, the going through the pain, you know, sometimes being injured, it's not like any other job you're probably going to do. So yeah, please talk us through kind of the pressures that you feel, obviously showing up as sometimes the only female stunty in the crew.
Yeah. So as far as being, you know, that happens a lot, being the only female. To be honest, that does not affect me that much, just because where I grew up, not many girls did what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I would hang with my cousins and their friends, and I'd tag along, and I'd just try to keep up with them. So for me, I kind of grew up in that environment anyway. But it's like, I love having other females on, you know, and there's always other females there, you know, not just, you know, in other areas, other departments and that sort of thing. But yes, as far as being male dominated in the core teams, that's for sure. It would be so cool to have more females. And I just think it would bring just maybe a different vibe as well, a little more balance maybe. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm really used to that, having a lot of males around.
Well, you're setting the tone, and obviously you are an inspiring a person to look at and see that you're doing all these things. And I guess sometimes when people ask what you do, and you say, "Hey, I'm a stunt person," you know, they surprised, or do they kind of don't really know what you do?
Probably a bit of both, really. Yeah, it's definitely different. It's a different career path, that's for sure. It's not, yeah, not common, is it? But yeah, like I love it.
Yeah, no, obviously. So, I mean, talk about the fact that you do a lot of these things for your core training. Now, obviously, finding groundedness, you love surfing, and that becomes almost part of your meditation. So it's not really a physical endeavor as much as it is a spiritual and very, you know, balancing for yourself. I mean, obviously for some people, the ocean is terrifying and the sharks and all the dramas that can come with that. So yeah, I guess do you have to overcome any limitations, or do you just find the ocean is just where you are at home most of the time?
I mean, sharks are in the back of your mind,
Hmm.
especially Australia. In New Zealand, where there's a seal colony where I grew up, so I always knew that they were well fed on these big fat old seals, you know. But here it's yeah, like certain times of the day, I just go off my instincts. Actually, if I start to, dawn or dusk, we're always, the surfers are always out there at dawn and dusk, but those are the times where it's possibly more likely to be attacked. And then, yeah, I just sort of go off my instincts, whether I feel like, okay, just time to go in now. Let's get a little spooky. Let's just go in. Um, and yeah, and then bait fish. Like if you just have you've got a few things that you think about. Like if bait fish starts coming in, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get out of there. I've been pretty close to a shark actually coming out for bait fish. Thankfully, I didn't physically see the shark coming out like that, getting the bait fish, but the boys did, and they're like, Angie, come over this way. But when I looked back, I saw it go under. So all the bubbly water, and I knew that it was a pretty big shark. And that scared me a lot. I went in, I sat on the beach for a while, and I was just like, my heart was pounding for a bit because it was really close. It was only a few meters sort of thing. But I made myself get back out there. I knew that if I didn't go back out there straight away, it would just be playing on my mind. So I went back out there. I think every shadow was a shark to me then too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where you've got to, just calm yourself down. Something that I do every surf, I have a little prayer before I go out into the water. I'm walking out there and I'll just go, thank you for the protection, da, da, da. And then I'll head out and feel a lot of peace. Basically, that's what I do pretty much every time I surf, actually.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was going to ask you, obviously, things you do to create that, because a lot of the time in stunts, it's very instinctual. You've got to trust the riggers, you've got to trust the ground, you've got to trust your other performers, and the inherent risks that come, with surfing or in the film industry. So we, touch wood that you hear about things with Olivia Jackson. And
yeah.
she was severely, injured, had her arm, torn off in an accident, and you just realize, look, if you don't do it, you're going to realize you're missing out in life. But if you are involved in this experience too, there's a fine line between making sure that everybody's focused and watching out for one another.
Oh, for sure. It's a team. Oof, yeah, we've got each other's lives in, our hands really. And a lot of the time I quite often, if I'm in a situation, I'll just go, okay, what's plan A, what's plan B, what's plan C, just to have a little out, just think about it before, I feel like that can be helpful to, like a little preparation kind of thing, that you just, you think of different scenarios and things like, that's all you can really do, and just pray that everything goes well, and have faith in each other and your friends and your workers, that they're all going to have your back, which they do. So it's only just when stunts go wrong, right? Like something happens, something snaps or something, so it's
just a lot more extreme. People trip downstairs, they slip in the shower. I mean, there's any time accidents can happen. It's just that sometimes they can be prevented if, prior preparation. I know you were telling me one story about was surfing and the board. Did you got cut by the board or something? You wrapped it up, kept going. Please talk about more of this extreme.
I did. I just got to D-bar actually, and I had my fins were quite sharp. Sometimes you can actually sand them down a little bit. But my first wave, I sliced my leg. And I was just so annoyed. I was so angry that I was like, no, I've come all the way down here. I'm going to surf. I'm just going to keep surfing. So I did. And it was actually about 2 hours later, I came in. And then I looked down. I was like, oh, shoot. Like, there was a lot of blood coming out. And so
You're out there checking up the water and,
oh, sometimes you don't notice because there's so much water, obviously, and it just, was flushing it away quite quickly. And then when I got in, I was just like, ooh, yeah, it would have been a little bit, sorry, everybody. It would have been a little bit, bring the sharks in. But that's something that I do sometimes.
So we're seeing like the increase now, like females in the stunt coordination realm of things. Can you see yourself kind of getting to a point, or at the stage, the performing side of it? But is there something you feel that you want to contribute and give back to the industry?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm actually not sure just yet, John. I love performing right now, and I've done a little bit of assisting work as well throughout the years, and I've done some fight work with Rocky and some of the kids and some of the actors and things like that, and I really enjoy doing that side as well. So, but I don't know whether, being a coordinator, I think I'd want to be doing a few more years of stunts first before thinking that I would, ever be at that level of, looking after people and that sort of thing. But maybe I feel like right now it's, that's a little too far ahead. But like helping, assisting and that sort of thing, and bringing in whatever I can bring. Is something that I enjoy doing right now anyway.
And added to that now, I mean, you're a mum and what's easy 5, 6 now?
Yeah, he's almost 7.
Almost 7. Okay. So it's interesting, watching him growing up. I mean, you travel a little bit now and trying to the pressures of adding in motherhood, stunts, all these other aspects of it. I mean, how do you find balancing that work-life experience?
Yeah. So what I did pretty quickly is, because I did a lot of personal training. I had a personal training business for about 10 years and remedial therapy, which works so well together with, all that knowledge that I've learned. I can bring it into helping others and also myself and my body and keeping that longevity going. But yes, as far as all that, once I had Axel, I ended up getting some really good jobs. I had Reef Break, which Axel was only 6 months old, and I could no longer look after all of my clients. So I had to, step away from that. I do little bits and pieces, but I had to manage my time. I just couldn't fit it all in. So I had to drop some things. And now I'm basically focusing on stunts, and also obviously my little dude, Axel. So I had to drop something.
Yep.
And it's opened up a lot of time to, spend time with Axel. And also, he's at school now, so I've got this time to train as well. So I've found balance by, having to sacrifice something. Yeah.
Having those support networks, and I know you've just had your parents here recently, and so I guess it helps to have all of that community. It takes a village to raise the child.
You have to. Yeah, you do. You have to have some good support, and I'm blessed that I do. That's kind of the only way that we've managed as well. Just having support, and my husband, Drew, he's very supportive, and he's got quite flexible work at the moment as well. So it's just, at the moment, it's really working. So if we, get the call up tomorrow, I'm able to, go in, because Drew's got flexibility. He can look after the little dude, and We've got nanas and that sort of thing. So very blessed in that side. So you do have to set up that if you want to have, because it's such a crazy career. It's such a, like 1 minute you've got no work, and then the next minute you're, all
Four
on.
jobs, right? And they're all, you're going to
Yeah,
quit the job, and then, hey, you're leaving next week. No, you're leaving tomorrow.
yeah,
Passport. Yeah, it's so interesting. Oh, God, that's
exactly.
amazing. But you've got to be adaptable.
You've got to be so adaptable. You have to have that flexibility. I don't know how some people do it, to be honest.
Yeah.
If they don't have the setup that we have, I don't know how they do it. Yeah, unless they've got support. It's pretty. You gotta really want it. You
Yeah,
gotta.
look, yeah, that's a question. I guess we're looking at a mental health support and the awareness of
Yeah,
it and the community. It's that you've talked about goals, you've talked about the faith.
yeah,
What do you see that a lot of people don't necessarily focus on? If you were to offer some advice, I mean, you've done remedial work, you've done some, personal training, and what do you see are a lot of the sort of cautionary tales that people sort of fall into?
Well, with this work, it's so up and down. Some people are very blessed and they've got, seem to have constant work. For myself, it's very up and down. So you have to have something, that some type of work that's flexible. For me, remedial therapy and having my own business really worked for a certain time. Um, and I just think that you need to have that on the side. If you just go, I'm going to be stunt woman and full time, it's like, it takes many years. I've been doing this for many, many years and I'm still trying to crack it. Um, but yeah, and you just have to, um, for us, we wanted to create a nice lifestyle as well. So we could do, if we've got that time, we want to be able to do the things that we love to do as well. And yeah, but
A lot of
it's
consistency, isn't it? And like you 4 jobs, and then you got 6 months with no work, and then another job, and then another 12. So it's interesting to not necessarily know that the next job is never guaranteed. You're
yeah,
employed. Next minute, hey, they've cancelled that job. It's been pulled, and oh my God, I've just given away four
yeah,
other jobs.
yes. And then you could be on the job and then for some reason you're off the job, or you could be, like you just can't quite count your chickens before they hatch until you're on there. Yeah. But yeah, you just got to be prepared to work hard, and yeah, just be ready at any moment for that opportunity because they will come, and then you got to be ready.
Yes, and then you
So
get tested. I mean, I saw a great post the other day. It says brilliant opportunities are sometimes cleverly disguised as bloody hard work. And
yeah,
so you realize sometimes about how much you need to go without sleep or follow, you're in pain, or all these little factors that contribute to stunts is not just standing there looking good and falling on mats all the time, right? It's
yeah, you got to look after your body for longevity as well. You have to, um, you know, not. I think just there's this like putting a few pads on. Don't be worried that make sure that you look after yourself. A lot of people, I mean, for females, quite often we can't wear pads. We're in little tiny singlets, and then you look over and the boys have got these big jumpers on
fitting
and
jackets,
bags and
boots. Yes,
like
you're in a crop top and a pair of bike shorts or something. Yeah.
exactly, and we're like, oh, what? Like this is crazy, like um, so I think in that side, women tend to have it a bit harder in that aspect. Can't hide things, but when you can, don't be ashamed to
Yes.
put a few pads on. And, as long as you're not Michelin man or anything like that, but
Yeah.
that's how you're going to have longevity. Because I've heard through the grapevine, oh, you just got to take the hardest hits and you got to, like you do, but you also got to do it 10 times, just as long as you know that you've got to do it multiple times and be able to do it exactly the same way, and the heart. Yeah.
Or
Don't be ashamed to
your
look
stunts are up
after yourself.
first and you've got so many pads on that 6 hours later you're starting to cut off circulation, right? So there's that option as well. So talk from
But
experience.
when
So
you
look,
can put them on, put them on. That's all I'm saying.
be adaptable.
Make the most of it, because most of the time you won't be having any.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
certainly a very extreme sometimes kind of place to come from. So, look, if there's any young aspiring females or even males for that kind of case, what advice would you have for somebody coming up looking at stunts potentially as a career? Where do you think the most important focus needs to kind of go?
Um, just just look after your body and get it, like, body control. Like that's your lifesaver. You got to know where you are in the air at times, So just really focusing on getting yourself really fit. I mean, it's really hard for females because we're meant to be, tiny. Like, these actresses are so tiny. Sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, like, but we have to be strong, like we have to strength train, and we have to look after our body if we still want to be in this game for many years to come. You've got to be strong, and so that's a really big thing for females as well. Just you know yeah, just look after yourself by training really hard, looking after your joints, and getting that body control really up, because that can be life and death as well. If you don't know where you are in the air, or land on your head, or so I think that's the main focus, is just
And I think, through your sharings today, I mean, part of that too that I can certainly see is that mental resilience, that you need to have that confidence and belief in yourself, not a reckless abandon, but certainly emotional regulation, because you can't put yourself in the air or do a 25-meter pike or put yourself out in these situations unless you believe in your abilities. So
yes.
certainly show on that through your physicality, your attributes of the mind and the heart are certainly well evident.
Yeah, you've definitely got to know that you can do it. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to go into any stunt kind of half-assed. You got to be like all in or nothing. You just, got to have that strong belief that, that you can do it. And yeah, you do have to go hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cliche, but there's fine lines, isn't there, between hardness and just going to that hard place to feel that you can achieve that experience.
Yeah. And just, don't be ashamed just to put a couple of little things on just so that you can go harder.
Yeah. Gee.
Yeah,
Oh,
like it's
amazing.
I think it's important. Just longevity. If you want to be in this game, you got to think about longevity of your body.
It needs to be an exit strategy that you're still walking around at 60 and 70 and not limping
Exactly.
in a wheelchair or something. Like, I went hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe too much. So yes, you never know that.
Exactly. I've got this really this just desire to look after my body, but this also desire to really go hard. And you just got to find that balance. But I think it's very important, because, a coordinator doesn't want someone just to go in and do, like a crazy rec, but they can only do one.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, oh, no, we've got to do this 10 times. What's happening? I can't. And they've got to find someone else to do it. And, so it's like you've got to, just been doing it for a few years. It's like you just look after your body, strength train, stretch, like get into a really good management program for your body, look after it, but also have fun and go as hard as you possibly can.
Great words, Angie. Thank you so much for opening up and sharing your story. I think a lot of people can take away so much from your life and what you've been able to to show in your journey. So I'm
Oh,
sure your family's extremely proud of you. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or to give support to for your experience?
yes, just yeah, like everybody in the industry that has supported me from now, you know, the coordinators, everyone that I've worked with, I'm so grateful, so appreciative of just any opportunity that has come my way. I'm so grateful. And the experiences and that sort of thing, it just, you know, you can just keep building on it. And you know, my mom for flying over and my mother-in-law and just everyone for helping out with Axel and, you know, helping out with the, you know, all the work and that sort of thing. So, yes.
I love your Wonder Woman over your left shoulder there too. It's
Oh,
a testament to your experience that you are a bit of a Wonder Woman in your journey. So
yeah. Oh,
you
thanks,
need these
John.
reminders, right, to highlight. Well, so
I love that when I saw it. I was like, yes, I'm definitely going to get that. Oh, cool.
Angie, I really appreciate your time and energy today. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, John. Good to be here.
Wonderful. So thank you for joining us today. This has been the Strong, Happy, Healthy, Loved podcast. Please leave a like. Please drop a share in the comments and subscribe to the channel for more content. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Angie.